Okay, I don't really know how to edit videos, so we're going to try to do this all in one take. I figured I'd show you guys how I'm setting up my garden. I'm not a gardener, just been trying this for a little bit. Traditional gardening I couldn't stand because of all the weeding, constantly weeding, so I sought to get rid of that as much as possible. Looked up a bunch of stuff on YouTube, and I basically came up with kind of my own method a little bit by taking a bunch of other people's ideas. Okay, first you start with something like this, total grass, and you mow that down. And you mow it down to the lowest setting on your lawnmower. Then you put cardboard boxes down. Then on top of the cardboard boxes, for your beds, you put soil. Well, not soil, but compost. Okay, you're trying to create a soil. Okay, they say it takes about 2 years for it to really get going. And then on the aisleways, you stick bark. Now, most people don't put the boards up, okay? But I like things that are clearly defined, and I like to have it where we're set up, you know, where I know it, where everything has to be. Anyways, so I decided to buy some boards and do it, okay? And this is the main beds. And what'll happen is the tree, this isn't bark, this is wood chips. Different, it's like the whole tree. There's even branches and stuff you'll find here and there, and those aren't part of the wood chips. That's just me not cleaning up after myself. But there's sticks and stuff in here, and sometimes you'll find some leaves. The leaves usually disappear pretty quickly. Okay, so first year we did it, I had this row, this row, this row, and those 3 rows. Basically those last 2 rows, that last 50-foot row and those other 2 beds weren't included. So we're going to start where I started. Okay, so here you notice this one doesn't have boards. Well, this is how most of the time people do it. It's just like this. And this worked out well. But what happens, if you notice, see all those boards sitting there? This wood is crap, and I knew it was crap. That's why I bought it, because it was cheap. I'm just going to be burying it in the ground. Well, stupid me, you'd think that I would know, but 1/4-inch crown staples doesn't hold it together. When it gets wet, it'll bow all apart. So I changed to screws, but that was all bowed out, and I just decided to pull the boards and do it the other way. Now you'll also notice in my beds you'll see straw sticking out. Okay, what this is last year we didn't do the best on weeding, and you're supposed to keep up on the weeds. I got to get out here and weed this stuff. Now, okay, I put the straw down to try to help be a barrier for the weeds. Didn't work very well, as you could tell. But if we keep up on it, I think it'll be better. It was already better last year, even with the weeds we had. It was drastically less weeds. Okay. This row we did okra. Oh, we had so much okra. It was crazy, coming out here every day sometimes to harvest like a big bowl, like your strainer full, sometimes 2, 3. This we had beans on. We got this like thing going with purple, so we had purple beans on this first part and peas down on the second part. But the peas didn't do worth a crap. The next row we had tomatoes, and here's the thing: is that the top part of the rows did really well, and the bottom part didn't. Here's my theory on that: is that my septic tank is just over there. You'd think the drain field would be right here, but I think at some point it failed, because the septic tank is, I'm in construction, I know what I'm looking at, and that it's a pour in place tank. They haven't done that in like years. They pre-build all septic tanks now. So that was a pour in place tank. So the tank's older, but in 95, I believe it was, they redid the drain field. So the drain field actually comes across the back part of this garden and comes up, well, the pipe to the drain field, and the drain field sits right over in here, like basically past my beds, up there into the yard a little bit. Okay, so I think it's all the rock, and it drained the water off way too quickly down here. So we've changed our watering system. Last year we used soaker hoses, and they were all right. We got a lot of stuff on it, but we found that they just didn't, if something nicked it or a piece of it was sitting out in the sun and got a little bit brittle, it would crack and it would kind of screw up the whole thing. That's why like a lot of the bottom end didn't get some water too, is because the top would get it and not the bottom. So we're going to go with drip hoses this year and give that a shot. That trellis we had last year, but we only had it halfway down, and this year I finished it all the way up. And okay, and then so that first year I only filled these boards about halfway, about where that's at. Oh, here, let's see my foot. About where that's at. Here, let's see if that's a better look at it probably. Well, just think, they're 1x6s, and I filled them about halfway up. So I put about 2.5 inches of dirt in there last year. This year I filled them all the way up, and as you can tell, I've been weeding some of it. That was the last time I was out here, but more's coming in. But if we keep up on it, hopefully I can get the straw down on top, and that'll help to eliminate the weeds too. Waiting on more wood chips to finish up the wood chips. Our plan this year is we're going to put purple beans all along this line. Okra is going to go back here again. My wife wants to do broccoli and I think cauliflower, purple, over there. And then we're going to do the tomatoes halfway down. And the other half of this, we're going to do zucchini and squash, vegetables that climb down the end of the trellis. You notice the trellis is a little bit weird looking. It's it'll straighten out. Half this I did last year, the other half I did this year. You notice down there they're bent in more. So were these, and I've actually had to use a tie down to squish these back together, because these hog panels or ranch panels, whatever you want to call them, they want to get straight tie downs to bend them back. Okay, so, and you'll see there's some weeds that are coming in there, and basically we haven't really done a lot of the weeding stuff this year, and I got to finish getting the wood chips. This bed I put in this year, and what's different about this bed versus that bed, besides just it being here just this year, is that over here we did some root crops such as carrots and beets and stuff like that. And the carrots hit the cardboard and went crooked. So we had like 90-degree carrots. So this one does not have the cardboard underneath it and just goes directly to the ground. I suspect that we're going to have a harder time with weeds with this one, which, at this point we're not really seeing that, but they got a ways to grow up. But anyways, that's more for like things like carrots and stuff, so we don't get 90-degree carrots again. Okay, so then we got back here is we're going to plant strawberries. That's just going to be a strawberry patch, and see the cardboard's there underneath it, and I won't have to fill that every year, because strawberries you don't do that. So I just filled those boards up right away this year and put straw over them to help to be a mulch to kill off anything else growing in there. Okay, and then over there later, that's where my burn pit was at, and just kind of a place I threw crap. But we're going to turn that into like melons, like watermelons and cantaloupe and stuff like that, probably next year, probably not this year. Okay, then this is going to be our asparagus, supposed to be coming in next week, this bed here. And asparagus you also don't bury, because you can't bury the crowns. So I can't add to it every year, so I just filled this one up automatic all the way to the top, and just put straw on the bottom of this one versus cardboard, as I want the roots to be able to get down deep quickly. Okay, now that kind of moves us onto this. These are all buckets that I've used compost and straw for potatoes. I don't know where I got it from, but somewhere online they were like 30 pounds to do a potato tower. So I got 25 pounds, figured we'd start there and get moving. Well, that did a lot of potatoes. So we still have potatoes left over. Oh, we're doing purple potatoes. Like I said, we kind of got this purple thing going on. And that's all of the potatoes. There's 21 buckets there, and I actually want to do 21 more over here, and see their buckets so I can move them around. Okay, now let's go to the potato towers. I did each one of them different. This one has got 3 5-gallon buckets of potatoes in it. It's of compost and 6 potatoes, and there's 6 in that level, or in that tower. The next one, I believe there's only 5, but that's, what was it? That was 2 bunches of soil from the hole I dug for the tree that I filled with compost instead of soil. Okay, then this one here, the third one, this one's got 4 buckets of compost per level, 5 levels, 6 potatoes per level. Okay, and then there's a cherry tree that we're hoping gets going. And then this final one here, this one's got 4 buckets of compost with 30 ounces, well, what would that be, 60, 120 ounces. I did it in a 30-ounce cup. But anyways, basically 1 30-ounce cup per bucket, 4 buckets. Same setup as far as compost. No soil in that one. And then there's a mess of my my soaker hoses, which I don't think I'm going to use anymore. Anyways, the trellis. Okay, we're going to have the tomatoes come up over the trellis, and then we haven't bought them yet, but we're going to use these same things and run them here, and then cut one in half to have it go across to hold it, and then the tomatoes will grow up in that cage instead of having your traditional tomato cages that you just put around the tomatoes. It'll actually go over the trellis. I hope I covered everything well. Feel free to ask questions. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm pretending really well. So hopefully I could get a bunch of stuff out of this garden this year. I'm sure we will. Even if I do it all wrong, we always get something. But anyways, I think I've covered everything pretty well and that I can think of. I'm going to fill those up with wood chips as they come in, more and more, until up to the boards with wood chips across the garden. The soil I've already got in there. I go over it once we have the plants established, just to help to reduce the weeds. We're planning on putting in 2 more trees. I think I covered the drip system. Yeah, I think that we covered it all. All right. Thanks for watching.